Forget snow and silent nights. This is how an African Christmas really plays out. No reindeer, no fireplaces, just fresh clothes, warm soda, chapati smoke, and cities emptied into the countryside. A season where movement, display, and noise replace the fantasy of calm. Christmas begins with clothes, especially for children. New, trendy outfits appear days before the holiday, carefully hidden until the right moment. Sneakers stay boxed, jackets stay folded, dresses stay untouched. On Christmas morning, kids emerge transformed, brighter, louder, confident. The clothes matter because they announce something simple. Today is different. Adults participate too, quietly competitive. Someone always notices who upgraded, who didn't, who repeated last year's look. Style becomes social language, even in villages where the dust does not care. Soda is the celebration drink. There is no mulled wine or hot chocolate ritual. Christmas drinks are cold, fizzy, and unapologetically sweet. Soda is stocked like treasure. Bottles line tables. Children guard theirs closely. Adults pretend they don't care, then reach for one anyway. Warm soda, bought late when shops have closed or transport failed, still counts. It is not about temperature. It is about access. If there is soda, Christmas has officially arrived. Chapati smoke marks the day. Chapati defines the season. Not the rushed weekday version, but the ceremonial kind. Thick, oily, layered, endless. Cooking starts early and never seems to finish. The smell spreads across compounds, announcing which homes are doing well this year. Chapati is not cooked alone. It comes with stew, meat, laughter, arguments, and unsolicited advice. Hands take turns. Oil spills. Children hover. By midday, everyone is full and still eating. Cars are hired. Cities are abandoned. Days before Christmas, cities begin to hollow out. Streets that usually argue with traffic fall strangely quiet. Shops shut earlier than usual. Whole neighborhoods pack themselves into motion. Cars are hired with urgency. Small cars, big vans, borrowed machines. Vehicles already tired before the journey begins. All pressed into service for one reason: going home. The road itself becomes ritual. Engines overheat. Traffic freezes. Passengers quarrel, reconcile, then argue again. Music blares without apology. Breakdowns are expected. Delays tolerated. No one truly complains because inconvenience is proof of arrival. If you're stuck together on the road, Christmas has already started. By sunset, villages expand and cities feel abandoned, like empty sets after the actors have left. The center of life has shifted. Alcohol flows, carefully and in full view. Drinking is assumed, but excess is negotiated. Bottles are placed where they can be seen. Sharing matters more than quantity. Someone inevitably overdoes it, while someone else loudly insists they are fine. The performance matters as much as the drink. Alcohol is not the celebration. It is the social glue. Refusing completely invites suspicion. Overindulging invites judgment. The balance is informal, flexible, and quietly enforced by glances and jokes. Church comes and goes. In reverse, church attendance thins under the weight of competing rituals. People promise to attend later, and later quietly turns into afternoon. Services continue, but the crowd shifts. Faith remains, but it competes with food, travel, reunions, and rest. The movement is backward. Late arrivals, brief appearances, polite exits. By midday, attention drifts elsewhere. Religion holds its place, but it does not command the day. Small centers wake after dark. As homesteads settle, trading centers come alive. Music leaks into the night. Lights flicker on. People gather not inside homes, but in public, to be seen.